Shamann Walton. First, I wanted to do some housekeeping and really sort of get us centered. And with my meetings, I always like to start off with our ancestral acknowledgements. And I'll read this one. We honor the gifts, resilience, and sacrifices of our Black ancestors, particularly those who toiled the land and built the institutions that established the city's wealth and freedom, despite never being compensated nor fully realizing their own sovereignty. We acknowledge this exploitation of not only labor, but of our humanity, and through this process are working to repair some of the harms done by public and private actors. Because of their work, we are here and will invest in the descendants of their legacy. In addition, I like to also start off with the Ohlone land acknowledgement, the Ramaytush Ohlone land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. As the indigenous stewards of this land, and in accordance with their traditions, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as the caretakers of this place, as well as for all peoples who reside in their traditional territory. As guests, we recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland. We wish to pay our respects by acknowledging the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community, and by affirming their sovereign rights as First Peoples. It's always important to me to sort of start there, to sort of have a center not only on the plight and the descendants of others and the ancestors of others, but also to hopefully bring your own into place and space. I want to share my mission. My mission is to empower people in communities to manifest their true potential and experience extraordinary success, whatever that might be for you. And I spent most of my life doing this. And OneBayview is just one part of that overall mission. OneBayview really seeks to connect all members, of the Bayview neighborhood and beyond in meaningful ways that help transform our community. I do this because I think it's the right thing to do. I started this actually years ago in like 2016, 2017, because I had the opportunity to go to meetings right during the day, and nonprofits and government folks would sit there and chide everyone else for not coming. And it's like, you're having this at 10 a.m. A lot of people aren't going to give up their vacation time to come in here, you say something. And the flip side of that was they took it as if people didn't care about their own neighborhoods. And I thought that was totally false. And that's why we actually started doing this a long time ago, connecting folks to the change makers in the community. We even have one of our first sessions with Supervisor Walton then, which we'll share online at a later date. We also have our newsletter. We have a website coming soon. We've in the past also done holiday and sort of Bayview specific campaigns, and that's important to me so that we can actually shop and buy local when we can. Like I said, we have a webinar series, again, to get us all together and talking, having great conversations. And the conversation today is really going to be centered on our supervisor of District 10, Shamann Walton, and everything that he brings to the table. Shamann was born in San Francisco and lived in public housing at an early age in Bayview and Potrero Hill. He has worked in District 10 neighborhoods for decades and has witnessed firsthand the challenges of our community faced, from longtime residents being pushed out of the city, losing childhood friends to violence and incarceration. As an accomplished and experienced community leader, Shamann has dedicated his life to improving the realities of our community. And so with that, I absolutely am honored to have Shamann Walton, our District 10 supervisor, on the line. Shamann, can you?
Thank you so much, Anietie. And first of all, I just want to thank the entire community for getting on this evening. I'm glad we actually have this opportunity to have a conversation, even though It is on Zoom. I know we've been able to do these forums in the past, trying to be responsive through technology, and even more so now that we're coming out of the pandemic. But it is great to see everyone. Looking forward to the conversation and discussion tonight. One, just to talk about some of the things we've been doing as an office, but of course, also wanting to get feedback from community to hear what's going on out in your neck of the woods, your concerns, your issues, so we can continue to be responsive and address the needs and concerns of folks in the district, in this case, more specifically you. But again, just happy to see everyone and looking forward to tonight's conversation.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. I think one of the things, whenever we come into forums like this, right, sometimes we always start with the negative. And I actually want to do something different. I want to talk about the positive. So I'd love to sort of ask you, just from your perspective, what things are going right in District 10?
Well, it's been a lot of great things, particularly over the course of the past year and a half. We have a brand new grocery store in Bayview Plaza. Lucky's is there. If you go to the plaza, you will see that's actually been revamped. It's been painted and new facades, and that is something that we're trying to make that end of the corridor, match, of course, other parts of the district and other parts of the city. We have a brand new community center at 1550 Evans, which is where you're located right now. I would encourage anyone who hasn't been there to when they get a chance to go check out the new community center. It's actually not just a community gem for us in District 10 and in Bayview, but it's actually something that the entire city touts and is excited about. In fact, we have a lot of folks who try to utilize the conference rooms, utilize the space from all over San Francisco. And so that's a thriving space that was promised for community. It is state of the art and top of the line, and something that we deserve in our community. We've renovated and redone several parks, from Park in Shoreview to Phelps-Ballou Playground to MLK Playground and Casey Jones Playground on 3rd Street. Hearst Playground is a brand new playground in Visitation Valley, Sunnydale. A lot of work to improve parks and, of course, address quality of life issues. You may see more and more traffic calming measures in your neighborhoods. More speed bumps now down Palouse, down Gilman, brand new stop signs in other areas. We're working with MTA and County Transportation Authority to continue to bring more traffic calming measures, slow people down, keep people safe, make sure that pedestrians, cyclists, and of course our folks who are driving are all safe and everyone is able to get to and from where they need to go. We have 3 navigation centers in the district, and we are excited about the opportunity to be able to get people from the streets and into, at the very least, shelter while we work on more permanent solutions. During the pandemic, we opened the navigation center on Evans, and that is something that we are proud of. We also have a vehicle triage center in the Candlestick area, and even though there has been some controversy around the VTC, most certainly it has helped to alleviate and resolve the issues that we saw at the Candlestick Point Expressway at one point in time. We have an RV site with over 100 RVs, with folks can not only shelter in place, but they have their own showers, they have their own ways to cook food, receiving meals, and receiving medical treatment and other supports on site. We are revitalizing our Hope SF sites. Our buildings are going up. Families are moving into brand new buildings and receiving services while on site. We continue to, of course, focus on improving transportation. During the middle of the pandemic, we were the only district, only area, only community to be able to bring a brand new bus line when we brought the 15 Express to community, which will actually take you from Bayview through our community and public housing community and all the way down to Montgomery Street in an express fashion. We restored most of our community lines, particularly our express lines coming out of the pandemic, which is no small feat. And that's not no one can really say that across the city, that they've been able to do that in that way. We steady are continuing to open businesses, particularly around the 3rd Street corridor. And we're excited about those opportunities, obviously, for community and for the businesses that are coming to us. So we've really been focusing on addressing concerns, trying to deal with quality of life issues. Most certainly, there are some things that need to be desired, but we're going to continue to keep working with everyone to resolve as many issues as we can while we make sure our district and, of course, our community in Bayview continues to thrive. So I'll stop there.
That's great. And just reading some of the comments, in addition to Lucky's, the new Panda Express going in, I just saw that the other day myself. The farmers market. Thank you, Isaiah. Yes, we need to support the Bayview Farmers Market at the Southeast Center every Thursday from 3 to 7:30. I have a question for you. So you talked a little bit about transportation. Before we get to parking, I just wanted to ask you something. Have you taken one of those driverless cars yet? They're all over like the neighborhood.
No.
Will you anytime soon?
I have major safety concerns, particularly the fact that they have really caused problems for emergency vehicles and emergency response. We live in a life where obviously some of us were taught fight, flight, or freeze. Their only mechanism when they see trouble or when something doesn't go right is to freeze. And that causes a lot of issues on our roads. So I don't think they're safe at this point. And I would not put myself in a position, and hopefully no one else puts themselves in a position to get in a car that when it's time to avoid an accident, when it's time to do something that may be outside the box to keep yourself safe, they don't have the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm. No, that's been one of my my issues. I was talking to some local folks, and some people have, and they actually like the experience. I am not there yet. I'm of that generation. Some of you don't know, but others do. I remember when ATMs were first introduced, right? My mom said, there's no way I'm going to go to an ATM. I want to go talk to people. I want to go touch my money. And me being her son, I was like, nope, don't need to go talk to anyone. I'm going to go use an ATM. This technology is one of those that I think is going to separate the generations. And I think we need to do everything we can to make sure that it is actually safe moving forward. Now let's continue on the transportation. I know that you mentioned the new line that's going in. I'm personally working with SFMTA on the Bayview shuttle, sort of a new community shuttle that's sort of going to be launched hopefully at the beginning of 2024. And it's really all about transportation equity, getting people to around our own neighborhood, and we're defining it sort of moving forward. If you can mute yourself, I really appreciate that. What other transportation projects are you working on that are of note that we as a community should be really aware of?
I think aside from restoring our muni lines and community, you just mentioned something that I think is going to be big for everyone, and I
was going to surprise today.
Sorry, please mute yourself as you come in.
No, thank you. I think you mentioned really one of the major projects that we're excited about for the district, particularly for the Bayview community. The shuttle that is going to be coming and community is working on figuring out what the route is going to look like. There's the RFP process in place right now to bring in an operator. So as we develop and design the route, or I should say as you as community develop and design the route, we will be able to see how effective the shuttle is. There's no pilot like this anywhere else in San Francisco. This is something that is special to us here in the district. And I think it's really going to be an increased opportunity for seniors, for some of our folks who live in more isolated areas in the district, to really have an opportunity at a different kind of transportation that hasn't been tried everywhere. And my hope is from this pilot and the access to transportation that'll be more reserved for Bayview Hunters Point community, that we'll come up with some great ideas in terms of how to improve transportation and increase accessibility within the district. And that's pretty much the most major thing we're working on, aside from MTA working to, of course, get to a zero emission fleet and bring in all electric buses for the future, which is something that is a goal of not only us here in the city, but of the state. And that is something that is pretty big that we're working on. Continue to work on the electrification of Caltrain, which we do have stops that borderline the district, Brisbane and the Viz Valley area, as well as Dogpatch and on King Street. And so want to make sure that we get the ridership increased for folks who need to get down to the peninsula, who need to get down to Santa Clara County. Those are the things we're continuously working on when it comes to transportation at this point.